Thank you for joining us at this time. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. In the face of economic realities, President Bola Tinubu again assures Nigerians that the future is bright. Calls for declaration of a state of emergency on security. Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, raises alarm over investigators. Details coming up shortly. Right, thank you for joining us. I am Omoefe Peace of Semere. The Supreme Court will today determine the fate of 9 governors whose victory in the governorship election held on March 18, 2023 are being challenged. The states that the Apex Court has heard cases that were lodged by aggrieved candidates and reserved its judgment at Delta, Rivers, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Taraba, Sokoto, Gombe, Kaduna, in our subsequent bulletins. Now, President Bola Tinubu has again acknowledged that the impact of the removal of fuel subsidy was very tough on Nigerians and has affected every sector of the economy. Education. Tinubu, however, assured that the future remained bright, stated these at the 54th convocation ceremony of the University of Lagos. Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, SAN, said the impacts could be seen in the high cost of living that has affected parents, guardians, students, and other Nigerians. His comments are not unconnected to lamentations by Catholic bishops of the Owerri Ecclesiastical Province that the removal of petroleum subsidy, a current naira scarcity, and declining value of the nation's currency had raised the cost of living, created dismay and panic among the citizenry. And in the face of rising kidnapping and bandits ravaging some parts of the country, the National Association of Nigerian Students has called for the declaration of a state of emergency on the security situation in the country. The clerk of the Students' Senate body, Oladimeji Uthman, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. He noted that declaring a state of emergency would help the government to address the security situation critically. He also suggested that the federal government should work on collaboration between the stakeholders for intelligence gathering. And in a bid to curb the activities of kidnappers and bandits in border towns within the territory, the Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, has the capital territory. This came as the federal government warned against raising ransom for abducted victims, stressing that this might worsen the security problem in the country. According to media reports, scores of SIS operatives have been dispatched to the entry and exit points of the FCT, and this reported to be in a move to bolster security in the nation's capital, which has been under siege by bandits. The hoodlums, who hitherto operated on highways and in rural communities, have in recent times escalated their attacks on residents of Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, Kaduna, and other urban centers. Right, you're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, a 6th Division Nigerian Army in Port Harcourt uncovers 14 crude oil reservoirs in Rivers State. Details of this and more after the break. Do join us again. Right, welcome back from that break. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Now, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has raised alarm about the crave for gratification and bribes among the Commission's investigators, noting that he had a process in motion to fish them out. Olukoyede made this disclosure while addressing staff members of the anti-graft agency at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. According to the EFCC chairman, public opinion about EFCC investigators is poor, a situation he described as embarrassing for the anti-graft agency. He warned that such conduct would no longer be tolerated under his watch, vowing that he would wield the big stick against investigators taking bribes. And now to other matters. The headquarters of the 6th Division, Nigeria Army, Port Harcourt, has uncovered 14 crude oil reservoirs containing about 3 million liters of stolen crude in Odagwa Eche, in Eche local government area of Rivers State. Also, the Army said the reservoir had 49 boilers used in refining stolen crude in the area. The General Officer commanding 6th Division, Nigeria Army, Port Harcourt, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, while conducting newsmen around the reservoirs located in the thick forest of Odagwa Eche yesterday, said he wanted Nigerians to know what was happening. Abdul Salam disclosed that through credible intelligence, officers of the division were able to discover about 14 reservoirs that contained upward of about 200,000 liters of crude oil in the forest. Now, the International Monetary Fund has warned that nearly 40% of jobs across the globe could be affected by the rise of artificial intelligence, with high-income economies facing greater risks than emerging market and low-income countries. The Washington, D.C.-based institution recently assessed the potential impact of AI on the global labor market and found that, in most cases, the technology is likely to worsen overall inequality. Now, this warning comes as business and political leaders from around the world gather at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva has urged policymakers to tackle this troubling trend and proactively take steps to prevent the technology from further stoking social tensions. Let's analyze critically the emergence of AI and its impact on the nation's economy. Adefolarin Olamilekon is an economist and also lead researcher at Pole Eco Analytics. Good afternoon to you, Adefolarin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. A very good afternoon to all viewers.
Right. I mean, I would like to start a conversation this way by taking you, of course, by your words. You remember earlier this week, you were on this, particular program, and you actually assured, us. When I say us, I'm referring to myself, even, the cameraman in the studios, and our viewers out there, that there is no cause for alarm. We shouldn't, express worries or concerns with the emergence of AI, that our jobs are definitely going to be secured. But how did you receive this warning?
I'm sure that what is happening is that there's going to be, there is this apprehension and global apprehension around when AI comes. What will it do when AI comes? Will it take many people's jobs? Seriously, it could, but there is an understanding that if you adapt AI, then your job is secure. But if you fail to adapt to AI, your job is not secure. AI is coming in two forms. It's coming as a disruptive technology, as also coming as a destruction of technology. And the disruptive technology now is to enhance certain individual and certain workstation work. Then the disruptive aspect of the technology is that any workstation, any job, or anybody that fails to take or to adapt to AI, definitely it will be out of the space. It will be out of the phenomenon of the world we are going through now as a world. And that's what I said. Now, for the IMF coming out to now say at least 40%, particularly across the world, they will not be able to break it down. In developed countries, about 60% of jobs could definitely be taken by AI. Therefore, low-income countries like Nigeria, 26%, then already emerging market about 40%. So what I'm trying to point out is there is opportunity for everybody across the world to begin to think on how to adapt AI. Just like the thinking around climate change, the way it is going, that many people are now adapting and now thinking about what should we do to be able to address the problem of climate change. The same thing is now coming for AI aspect also, because although many of us have forgotten that AI has been with us for the past 50 years, the traffic light that we are making use of, the transfer and use of banking, financial system platform, it's all as a result of AI. The only challenge that we're having is that it's coming in a way that first and foremost is going to go into highly skilled environment workplace. Then before you now begin to settle down into other maybe crude or less crude.
But in Nigeria, I mean, there is this ongoing crusade already about, the emergence of AI and the need for people to, be receptive, towards
about
it.
No,
Yeah.
it's good that we do that, but the thing is that the way I'm saying it, the way we are doing it is not the right way.
How have we been doing it?
We're doing it in a way that we want to create market for the AI, for the people who want the technology. We're not thinking about how we are going to adapt. But at the end of the day, the way Africans, the way we think in sub-Saharan Africa, we just think about the consumption aspect of those technologies. We don't think about how to initiate those technologies to adapt to ourselves. In China, they have adopted it. In Taiwan, they have. I think IMF carried out a survey and they discovered about 3 countries already ahead of every other country across the world: the US, Singapore, as well as Denmark. They're already ahead of everybody in the sense they are not just adopting and taking those technology, they are also making sure they transmit and change it to suit their environment. But in our own case, we want to train people in the technical aspect of just using AI, but we are not looking at how we can also domicile the knowledge about AI for our own environmental and economic use.
But at least we should train some people, I mean, a number of people first, because how many Nigerians are tech savvy?
On my feet.
Yes.
Trained people is not the bigger agency that have also practicalized this AI. AI is not just being a talk of today. In 2015, there was under Ministry of Science and Technology, a department was created for AI, Artificial Intelligence Department. They even went as far as trying to put it across some universities, Federal University of Technology, so that you can have a department. That's why I see that in the last 4-5 years, you are seeing that in some schools have started saying we have courses in AI. We could maybe not be in a BSc level, but advanced level.
Yeah.
And that's why it is. So we should not just be thinking about how to consume the product of AI, but how we can also produce AI for our own use.
So true is it that, this artificial intelligence must actually work perfectly with good internet, connectivity?
Because that is the backbone.
Okay, so in Nigeria, where are we? Internet connectivity.
We are still suffering from poor infrastructure in terms of digital aspect. Digital infrastructure facility, and that's why I say the government is also thinking of how to empower and also encourage people to invest in that regard. And beyond that, the level that we are going right now is the level that we can use the soft aspect of AI. The other aspect doesn't even need that internet stuff that we're talking. Computing and be able to put together wristwatch, compute and put together cars, computer and put together electronics issues, product and the rest of that. We have not gone to that level. That one may not even demand that high fiber what they call it, infrastructure in terms of digital. But we also have to do with the technology that can help us to integrate and link all this together. So having this on board will help us a lot. But for me, I don't want to just to focus on this training skilled manpower to just be able to apply here. But how can those manpower also develop? Because that's why we miss it. When we're talking about app application, hey, we train people how to do app, train people how to, until tomorrow we are training people how to do app. Meanwhile, the technology behind app, nobody knows how to do it.
Now, how do you juxtapose the emergence of AI and unemployment in Nigeria? Because we know that Nigeria is a developing country,
Exactly.
isn't it? And I mean, apparently, we do not have, a handful of tech-savvy, guys or personnel in the country.
Exactly.
So definitely, if this is what we're going to, accept or welcome on board, the implication is people might lose their jobs.
And you are very correct. A lot of people, because they refuse to adapt AI into the workstation or into their.
Is it that they refuse to adapt, or it is just complicated?
It's not complicated. The complication there is that because we are going to be borrowing that technology, but how to simplify it is to borrow that technology and domicile it in our own country. China was not the first pioneer AI country. It was from the US, Germany, but China borrowed it. But today, China is the biggest consumer and as well as the most usage AI across the world. Why? Because they borrowed it, they look at it, and they begin to reconstruct it in their own way. But here in Nigeria, we'll just be borrowing, we'll just be taking it, we'll not think of how to reconstruct it and make it domicile in our own economy. And that's why we are missing it. That's why I made mention of the issue of apps and other fintech application that we're using financially. Everybody say, hey, fintech. But the product, the technology behind fintech, how long will it take us to be able to domicile and do it here in Nigeria? Nobody's thinking about that. But the government of the day, thank God they are looking at how they can use it in a way that they can bring an agency, like I said in my column that is coming out this week, that we need an interagency linkages from Minister of Science to NASANI to Minister of Communication and Digital Economy to Minister of Agri. They all need to come together and see how we can have a coordinating office for artificial intelligence in Nigeria, whereby that coordinating office will now look at all the segments of each ministries and what they can put together and be able to coordinate it so that we can use it.
Okay, so before we talk about, how will I put it, the perspective as to what AI, the impact it will have on different sectors or the overall economy. Let's bring in different sectors. Let's use agriculture, for example. What is AI having on agriculture?
It's going to have a very robust impact on agriculture. Determine how farmers can do the mechanization of their farming. Mechanization of their farming now will not be too mechanical again. It's going to be in fusion with internet facilities, digital technology, as well as mechanization. Whereby you can have a tractor, move out from the warehouse, enter the farmland and begin to farm.
On its own?
On its own. Then when you come to harvesting, you can see an harvester enter the farm area and begin to harvest on its own. Then it bring it back to the warehouse.
So it reduces the stress.
It reduces the stress of the farmer and also reduce the cost of hiring too much labor or too much exertion of energy on the farmland.
So you won't be needing, manpower. I mean, the manpower issue won't be there anymore. The implication there would be that jobless, because there are people whose responsibility is just to go to the farm and help people till the soil.
Definitely.
Farm to help them harvest and they get paid.
Exactly.
So,
but there are other value chain farming. After harvesting, there are other things that goes with it. The processing aspect of the farm product. People can still be engaged in that area if there is no AI to help them to process those things into finished product, like juice, like finished materials, like milk and the rest of them. So, in as much as AI is coming, as it's taking over this area, it's creating opportunity in one way or the other for people in that environment, and also going over to the other side, also creating opportunities. We should not see it as something that is going to be a blindfolded activity or a misconception around it.
We understand that the only thing constant in life is change, right?
Exactly.
We must really be receptive.
Exactly.
We understand that. Let's talk about the impact of AI on, another sector. Let's use the health sector, for example.
Definitely, the health sector we're
having robots, administer drugs or injections on patients.
Definitely, it will happen. After all, during the COVID-19 era, we had a robot attending to sick people of that nature. But in this respect that we are talking about, we may not see it eventually happening across. But when it comes to surgical operations that will demand sensitive aspect, we may see an AI conducting that.
How about the security sector?
Definitely, that one is sure. You can have AI in the security sector, because like what we are experiencing in Abuja right now, we need a mapping of where kidnappers kept people. And AI can go there with all the bullets that the guys will be shooting. The AI will just go there, pick the people we want to pick and go out. If it happens that they have been given ransom, you will locate where the money was kept and pick it out and go. In security,
is that realistic?
It will happen.
Okay.
And I'm really happy that already the Nigerian Army have already making use of drones.
Yeah.
Even the planes that we are flying right currently now, like the US plane, they are already making use of drone that is also already AI injected. I mean AI infected. What I mean infected, that means AI have been adapted into the usage. That's why even some vehicles, I think you enter both. Do you think now robotic voice that you are hearing is what? It's AI. Take to the left, take to the right. Move forward.
I mean, that should be someone's job description.
But someone cannot be sitting in the car with you and be telling you take to the left, take to the right.
The person should be stationed somewhere perhaps and just give all of that instruction. Turn right, turn left. But why should you have a robot there doing the job of human being?
It's already there in the boat vehicle that you enter. Okay. It's already there.
Okay, so what do you see this, what does this portend for the economy generally?
I think there are two things to the economy. One is that, as we rightly pointed out, even as IMF rightly pointed out, also mentioned in my article, that one, inequality definitely will come, because there are some countries that may not be able to adapt AI. So global inequality will spring up. There will be discrepancy between income earning in particular countries as against the other ones that are not AI compliance. The another issue has to do with the issue of spending. There are some countries that will be spending so much in this regard. There are some countries that will not be spending. Those ones that are spending much on infrastructure in terms of their development. They'll be going higher. Meanwhile, they'll be producing mass production of goods and services that these ones will be consuming. Because these ones are now making use of AI, the standard of those goods will be reduced. Because there's one particular research they also look at that, in the sense that if humans are being engaged in certain activities, the quality of those goods are more higher with AI. But one thing I want people to understand, behind the AI is also human. The coding of all those activities that the AI is conducting is done by women.
Who have few hands there
to
control all of that.
Now, you know, it's not few hands.
Okay.
The content are produced by a lot of people.
Okay.
So those content will be produced by a lot of different writers, different thinkers. It is different thinking of humans that is injected or input into a robot. Okay. It's not that the robot by itself think. It is humans that think for the robot. Like I'm sitting on this particular podium now. You can have a AI that will come and sit, but before the AI will come and answer all your questions, I've already put all the answers in the AI. Okay. So in that regard, as I did for line as a news analyst or an economic analyst, it will be any more. That is where the earning disparity come, because those people who are now highly AI adapted in their workplace, they'll be any more, because the companies that are taking their ideas will be paying them higher than just hiring somebody to sit down.
All right. What are fears that this, emergence of AI would, bring about some level of, inequality? Do you see Nigeria falling under that category, or do you see this affecting us in that manner?
It will.
Because a lot of, apparently we have a lot to invest, money on. Yes.
Exactly. It will, but not in immediate period, right? A projection that all these things will become a challenge to third world countries, low-income countries. But we are just envisaging that before it catch up with us, just like what I said in my article, I said before we sleep over it, can we start preparing ahead? And I remember around October last year, there was this conference about all AI experts that have met in London, so that they can develop a global adopted principles on how AI can be, injected into the world, causing damages to humanity. And that is where we are going. And that not causing damage to humanity means that we must all bring our heads together and see how we can reduce the tension, the social stock that IMF is talking about not to happen, particularly in developed countries as well as developing countries or emerging economies or low-income economies like Nigeria.
What is the possibility, or do you see the possibility of, maybe developed countries using AI to cause more harm than good?
Definitely. It can be used for biological weapons, can be used for military weapon, can also be used for all manner of things that can bring this harm
to mankind. Yeah.
So, but the issue is that now, as it's being put on the table now, everybody is now getting an understanding that, as dangerous as AI could be, let us begin to plan against the danger of it. And that's where I come in my article, that Nigeria must not sleep over it. Government must not sleep over it. It's an opportunity for us to look at how to ensure that as other African countries, other the world is planning, let us begin to plan. But the planning, in my suggestion, was it should be an African agenda, because most of the principles that will be thrown out now is going to be from the world agenda. Like the world IMF is talking about, that IMF is already developing a master plan on how fiscal policy and the monetary policy of every country around the world can be tied to AI. But we're bringing it out. We must look at it and say, okay, let us domicile and use an African and take it up from our own environmental factor before we can accept what they are bringing. Because with that, it will help us a lot.
So on a final note, do you see AI becoming a blessing or a curse?
It's a blessing. It's a to me, it's
in Nigeria, do you see it becoming a blessing or a curse?
To every part of the world, it's a blessing, except that misconception and that blindfolded attitude of people who follow with it. But if we look at it strictly the way it is coming and be able to adapt to ourselves to, and be able to understand what it's going to bring, we will enjoy AI.
I'll take you by your words, Adefolarin. He says AI is definitely going to be a blessing and not a curse. So for those who have fears that, AI is here to take over our jobs and perhaps, cause more harm than good, maybe you should change your thought patterns, in that regards. Adefolarin Olamilekon is an economist and also lead researcher at Politics Analytics. Thank you so much for your time and analysis. That's it for news analysis today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Omoife Peace of Semere. I'll be back at the top of the hour with a news update. Good afternoon.